Hola, muy buenas a todos, soy Dosflores y estamos en un nuevo vídeo de VAMPYR. Estamos justo en la entrada del hospital y vamos a hablar con la gente con la que dudaba si hablar o no. Bueno, no dudaba si hablar en el vídeo anterior. Vamos a hablar con ellos.
Good evening, nurse.
Buenas noches, enfermera.
Doctor. I don't think we've been introduced yet. My name is Pippa Hawkins.
And I'm Dr. Jonathan Reed. Dr. Swansea has recently offered me a position in this hospital.
Well, it's a euphemism that your help will be appreciated, Doctor.
Háblame de su vida en Londres. ¿Cómo está la situación?
How would you
por aquí?
describe the situation at the Pembroke Hospital?
It's serious. The flu is wreaking havoc amongst the staff and patients. We are running out of everything.
Nurse Hawkins, the Spanish flu won't last forever. Even the Black Plague didn't kill everyone.
I wish I could believe you. But what if this epidemic was worse? What if in the end, nobody was spared?
You must get a hold of yourself, nurse.
Sorry, I'm exhausted. No one has any idea when this epidemic will be over.
A ver, preguntas personales.
How long have you been a nurse?
Or long enough to see that the epidemic is winning. And no matter how qualified you are, don't tell me you'll change that.
Pues tiene razón.
You're right. When dealing with such a terrible disease, one must remain humble. But that doesn't mean we shouldn't try our best.
Sorry, Doctor. I don't want to sound bitter, but I'm just too tired to give a pep talk like Nurse Brannigan.
How is the Pembroke staff coping with the epidemic?
Well, not well. Milton, the ambulance driver, is even more grumpy than usual, especially concerning doctors.
Why is Milton grumpy on
Este
a
es el
daily
traficante de
basis?
armas.
Is it just an act?
Milton's not the kind of man who's bothered about a bad reputation, whether he deserved it or not.
Nada más información sobre Milton.
Why does Milton dislike doctors?
I don't know. Just ask him. But be warned, Milton is not the chatty type.
Pues ya está.
Goodbye, Nurse Hawkins.
A ver si encuentro aquí a Milton. Mira, aquí está. Milton, guapo.
Good evening, Milton.
Good evening, Doctor. Still trying to save lives?
Digo, a lo mejor le puedo hacer alguna pregunta. Ah, aquí está.
Why do you have such a mediocre reputation among your
Ahí,
colleagues?
utilizando
Milton?
poderes vampíricos.
Fuck them. Nobody knows the horrors I've seen since working here. This city was sick long before the epidemic, Dr. Reed.
I know it's a difficult task, but correct me if I'm wrong. Is this not the job you are paid to do?
I've seen babies left to die while their brothers were properly fed. Underage girls and boys sold to all manner of perverts.
I'm sorry, I don't know what to say.
Yeah, exactly. We lack words. So excuse me if I don't look on the bright side of life.
Bueno, esto ya lo sé, pero bueno.
So
solo
what do you do
preguntar.
exactly in this hospital?
I've been in there.
Sí, se estaba repitiendo. Y sí,
Are
es
you
evidente.
really?
And why not? I've already been attacked by patients, you know. And by gang members willing to steal my money.
But you're not defending yourself. You're selling guns to civilians.
You keep people alive your own way, Doctor. I offer them another way to protect their health.
Vale.
Goodbye, Milton.
Claro, me ponía pulsa R. Milton, Milton, no te vayas.
Good evening, Milton.
Good
Tengo una
evening,
cosa que
Doctor.
comprobar.
Still trying to save lives?
Ah, para cautivar. Ok. A ver, pone Q, cautivar, y después pone pulsa. Ah, R para más información. Ah, mi nivel de cautivar es 1 contra 2, así que probablemente saldría mal.
Goodbye, Milton.
Adiós, Milton. Perdón por las molestias, Hay mucha gente dentro del hospital con la que tengo que hablar. Este va a ser un capítulo que va a ser casi todo el rato hablando, probablemente. Con usted ya hablé, señorita. De hecho, ha sido la primera de hoy.
Good evening, Doctor. I believe we're going to be working together.
Dr. Reed. Dr. Swansea informed us of your arrival, but I could not dare to believe we'd have such good fortune. Such an honor, sir.
Thank you. And you are?
I am Thoreau Strickland, Dr. Thoreau Strickland. I'm a great admirer of your work, Dr. Reed.
No me gusta nada este hombre. No sé si es por la estética que le han dado, por los ojos, pero se me hace muy raro, ¿eh?
Please, could you tell me something about yourself?
I'm a great admirer of your work concerning blood transfusion, Dr. Reed. I run my own experiments. I'm convinced it's the future.
What made you choose to be a doctor?
I'm not ashamed to admit you and your work have inspired me. I am honored to have the opportunity to work by your side.
It's always a pleasure to share scientific and medical knowledge with someone eager to learn. I'll be glad to help you if I can.
This epidemic may be the century's most terrible disaster, but I'm convinced that we, as doctors, are the only ones able to defeat it.
Está sano.
I based my technique on my mentor's research. He helped me perfect my method. What is yours?
I'd rather not talk about it. For now, it's just theories and first approach. My process is purely experimental and unsuccessful.
As long as you're cautious and methodical, you may remain empty-handed, but you won't fail.
You're not the first one to warn me, but I am convinced knowledge is the main weapon against the ravages of this epidemic.
What can you tell me about the Pembroke?
Well, it has always been an honor to work with Dr. Swansea. But with your arrival, I can't think of a better opportunity to learn about blood transfusion.
You seem quite optimistic. It's a rare and precious attitude in these difficult times.
I'm convinced that this epidemic is a test of endurance and dedication for us men of science.
Questions remain about our capacity to resolve the situation.
True. Last summer, during the first wave of the epidemic, I used to joke with Milton about the extra work. We're not smiling now.
Poca información. Sé solamente he desbloqueado una pista, que es esta.
Do you need help with anything in particular?
Well, yes, maybe. I'm waiting for a batch of products I ordered for my personal research, yet my supplier seems to have vanished.
Do you want me to play the errand boy for you?
Oh no, Dr. Reed. But if you went personally to his shop, what with your reputation and all, he wouldn't dare to refuse the products I need.
I see. Well, give me the address, for I may pass by if I have time.
Ah, la otra misión. De aquí voy a salir lleno de misiones secundarias. Atrás. Cuentas personales. Sobre su técnica de transfusión.
Tell me more about your willingness to experiment with new medical techniques.
Harvey Fiddick is a patient suffering from a severe injury that could cripple him if not treated correctly. I'm convinced your blood transfusion technique could help him.
What is it you really want? To save him? Or to prove your point?
Fair question. I want nothing but to save my patient, Dr. Reed. Especially since I know Mr. Fiddick's story.
Tell me Mr. Fiddick's story.
Our first diagnosis was compromised because Mr. Fiddick lied to us about the real origin of his injury. He first claimed it was an accident.
But why would he hide such crucial information from us?
Because he is a proud father, ashamed of putting his children at risk because of his own negligence.
Huh?
This personal involvement could also appear to be a lack of impartiality. You must know that a good surgeon must remain neutral.
I agree. But that does not excuse Dr. Ackroyd's behavior. A man who did not even take time to converse with his patient.
Do you think keeping his distance was a mistake?
All I know is that I'm taking care of human beings with desires, hopes, and fears. not some biological machine comprised of blood, bones and flesh.
Do you need my medical attention, dear colleague?
You don't have to worry about me, Dr. Reed. I am here to assist you, not to be a burden.
Goodbye,
Oh.
Dr. Strickland.
Hombre rarito. Nada, después hablando con él me ha caído un poco mejor, pero... No sé, era la sensación que me daba. Me daba una mala sensación. Madre mía, voy a conocer aquí a todo el mundo. Mira, otro que no conozco, otro que no conozco. No, ese sí. Ese de allí no. Esta mujer sí, claro. No, no. Y sí, que es Milton. Y el de allá al fondo tampoco. Háblame.
Good
Señor.
evening, sir. I'm Dr. Reed. I believe we're going to be colleagues.
Reed? Yes, I've been informed about your arrival. I'm Waverly Ackroyd. Welcome aboard, I suppose.
Does my arrival inconvenience you in some way, Dr. Ackroyd?
Let us just say that I don't particularly share Dr. Swansea's enthusiasm for hiring you. What we need here are reliable professionals, not overrated dabblers.
Te voy a meter un mordisco en el cuello. Te vas a cagar.
If you have a problem with me, Dr. Ackroyd, please feel free to tell me.
Dr. Swansea has imposed your presence on this hospital without asking anyone's advice. The benefit of his position. But I don't agree with it.
I know we've never met before, but I believe this hospital could use all the help it can get. You will agree with that, I'm sure.
Oh, but I have heard about you, Dr. Reed. Of course, you can't say the same about me, since I have not wasted my time courting the press.
Uf. Por favor, dime... Mira. Dame tiempo. Te voy a llamar comida de emergencia. Yo te lo digo, tú dame tiempo. Cuando esto sea un 4 vas a ser tú el primero en caer. Te acabo de hacer la cruz, que lo sepas. Me voy a llevar todo lo mal... Bueno, no, pero voy a intentar ser simpático contigo para luego poderte encarar el diente bien. Así que le diré esto.
There is no need for such animosity between us. Don't you think the epidemic is already enough to deal with?
That is one point we could agree on. And that is precisely why I want to be sure that you will be of help to this hospital, instead of a burden.
Since your tenure in this hospital is longer than mine, perhaps you can tell me more about this place.
Let's just say I'm tired of the carelessness around me. I have always respected the skills of Dr. Swansea, but over time his enthusiasm has become displaced.
Carelessness? Exactly what are you talking about?
We're here to save lives. The people who trust us are not volunteering for experimentation. They're here to be healed.
I don't intend to run any radical experiments, Doctor. Even if I, as any good practitioner should, express an interest in pushing the boundaries of medical research.
Modern medical methods were created through audacity and ego. But there are rules in our line of work, and they're here to protect our patients.
A ver. O sea que eres un anticuado, ¿eh? Así tú cuídate, ¿eh? Quiero que cuanto más sano estés, mejor. Y haz ejercicio. Haz ejercicio. Que cuando te coma,
Tell me,
quiero que me
Waverly,
des toda la experiencia
what do you
posible.
think of Dr. Strickland's enthusiasm for his experimental research?
Strickland is playing with his patients' lives for pride and glory. Now that, sir, is unethical.
Are you thinking about something in particular?
Harvey Fiddick needs delicate surgery. I believe we should stick to the usual procedure, but my young colleague obviously disagrees.
And are you not afraid that your rivalry with Strickland may be blinding you?
Rivalry? I guess you could call it that. But I will never be childish enough to let my personal feelings affect my judgment.
Why do you wish to lead this surgery?
I strongly believe that Mr. Fiddick should not be butchered to test an unproven procedure.
¿Qué le digo?
Other people may say that's too conservative a point of view.
Conservative? And what are you going to say to Mr. Fiddick if he loses his arm because of the operation? Because that's what's going to happen if the surgery is a failure.
It seems you have bad memories of your military service.
I refuse to see this industrial slaughter as scientific progress. War only reveals the worst in men.
We can at least agree on something, Dr. Ackroyd. I don't know what you've heard about me, but I have already proved my value as a practitioner.
I don't question your skills, Dr. Reed, but your motive. Is it money? Fame? Or are you truly dedicated?
And what exactly is that supposed to mean?
I served in the war just like you. But unlike you, I did not use the wounded to play the modern sorcerer.
Be careful what you insinuate, Dr. Ackroyd.
I only want you to admit you used those men to improve your theories.
Todo es verdad, ¿eh? No tengo por qué decirle nada. Le meto un par de hostias y ya está. Y te dejamos aquí el vídeo si hace falta, ¿eh? Si hace falta lo dejamos aquí. Para mí es el final bueno. Este es el malo final. Le echo la cruz. Conocimiento.
Knowledge
A
has
ver, es
always
que
been and will remain
es un tema un
our
poquito
main
peliagudo.
weapon,
Ahora hablando en
and it has
serio.
always come at a price. And personal initiative.
It is not a question of initiative. It is a question of integrity. These men and women have put their faith in us, Dr. Reed.
A ver, es un tema peliagudo. Aprovecharte de la mala situación de una persona para experimentar con él, aunque sea por un bien mayor, ya no sea por fama ni nada de eso, sino porque de verdad haciendo pruebas con esa persona puedes llegar a ayudar a otros en un futuro, ¿no? Yo creo que el fin justifica los medios en este caso. Yo creo que sí, aunque haya supongo que la moralidad de cada uno, ¿no?
Thank you for your time. We'll talk later.
I'm quite busy right now, Dr.
Oui.
Reed.
Que no quiero hablar más
Thank you for your
contigo. Imbécil.
I'm alright. Don't waste your time with me.
Estoy aquí robando.
You always
El
knew
propio
the words
hospital.
to calm the children, Helen. As for me, what a blundering idiot.
Vamos a hablar.
Good evening, sir. I'm Dr. Reed. May I help you?
I don't know if a third opinion is needed. Your colleagues are already arguing about my condition.
I see. Would you mind telling me more about your situation?
I'm Harvey Fiddick. All I want is to get me bloody arm fixed properly.
Are you satisfied with your treatment here?
Well, it's clear that I've chosen a bad time to be injured. Forgive my bluntness, but you seem overwhelmed by cases of the flu.
I won't lie to you about it. I'm afraid we are.
Are you sure you don't want to operate yourself, Dr. Reed? I have the feeling you're very capable. And your colleagues seem to think so too.
In other circumstances, you would be right. But for now, I don't think I can take on the responsibility. My apologies. Tell me about yourself, Mr. Fiddick.
I'm just a regular guy waiting to get his arm fixed, so I can return to work and to my family.
I was more curious about what you were doing before being hospitalized.
I'm a carpenter, and a good one too. But that means I need both arms to feed my family, Dr. Reed.
Como muchos de los trabajos, la verdad. Y más de esa época, buf, ya ni te cuento.
Tell me about the doctors who are arguing about your case.
Strickland and Ackroyd. They both want the best for me, but there's a lot of pride there. Doctors are no different from carpenters, it seems.
What do you mean?
I often had professional arguments with rivals on a building site. Difference is I disagreed about wooden nails, not flesh and bones.
Tell me about your injury, Harvey. Why do you feel so guilty about it?
My wife died because of me. And now I may lose everything because I've been careless enough to hurt myself. What an arsehole.
How could your job be responsible for your wife's death?
I was working a double. She went out to bring me a hot meal and got caught in a German bomb raid.
You can't hold yourself responsible for your injury, Mr. Fiddick. Unless you tried to hurt yourself.
Of course I didn't hurt myself. But I can't work until my arm is fixed. My children need to eat, Doctor.
Vale, vale.
Tell me more about the death of your wife, Harvey.
1915. I was in the army. Building workshops for the Royal Flying Corps. Helen was happy I wasn't sent to the front.
What happened?
The Germans sent Zeppelins to bomb the construction site, but they missed their target. My wife was bringing my dinner when the bombs fell.
I'm sorry for your loss. So many died during the bombings. I served in France and witnessed the carnage there.
I would like to say that she didn't suffer. Truth is, I have no idea. I just know that I'm all that me kids have. Poor little bleeders.
How are your children after losing their mother?
They were smaller then. The only good thing about this is my Helen didn't bring them with her that night.
Goodbye for now, Mr. Fiddick.
Joder, macho,
I'll
he
see you
metido el
later.
dedo en la llaga hasta más no poder, pobre hombre. Joder. Un segundito. Que no he probado una cosa.
Good evening, Mr. Fiddick.
Good evening, Dr. Reed.
Pues me dice que está sano. Bueno, a ver. Una cosa es a lo mejor tener un problema en el brazo. Imagínate que te has roto una pierna, ¿vale? Mientras que no esté infectada ni nada parecido. Sí, vale, tienes la pierna mal, pero el resto puedes estar bien. Y,
Goodbye for now, Mr.
y
Fiddick.
técnicamente aquí
I'll
estamos
see you
hablando
later.
de sangre. Bueno, espera, pero lo que no he hecho es probar a ver qué
Good
pasa
evening,
si le
Mr.
Good
doy
evening,
a...
Doc.
Is
esto,
there
revisión
anything
médica,
else
¿no?
that's bothering you? Can I help it?
I'm all right. Considering the state of this place, I should consider myself...
Vale, no.
Goodbye for now, Mr.
No puedo interactuar respecto a eso.
Calm the children, Helen. As for me, what a blundering idiot.
Son cadáveres, ¿no? Carta arrugada. Amor mío, al fin he reunido todo el dinero que pedía el conductor de la ambulancia por llevarte al hospital. Ahora no te preocupes por nada, preocúpate solo de ponerte bien. Ya me he encargado yo de todo. Les he preguntado a los vecinos y me han dicho que ese Hooks es un auténtico sinvergüenza. Aunque podemos fiarnos de él. Pide más dinero, pero a cambio nos garantiza una cama. Siento haberme negado a pagar en un principio. Ahora me di cuenta de que lo importante es que te pongas bien cuanto antes. Me han dicho que el hospital Pembroke es un buen lugar a pesar del comportamiento de ese Milton Hooks. Te prometo... Milton es el que lleva la ambulancia. Te prometo que todo va a salir bien. Iré a verte en tu cama limpia lo antes posible. Con cariño, Nicolae. Uy, el Milton este. Anda, y yo, mira, soy muy poco ético, por lo que estoy viendo aquí robando a los cadáveres. Luego tengo que hablar con Milton, A ver si me acuerdo. Hola, doctor.
Good evening. I'm Dr. Reed.
Always a pleasure to meet a colleague, sir. Especially when he was supposedly dead.
A colleague. Are you a doctor too?
Not anymore, sir. I used to be Dr. Rakesh Chadana. Now, I'm just Mr. Chadana, pawnbroker and humble guardian of this morgue.
What do you mean, you used to be a doctor? Was your license revoked?
No, sir. It is just that I like to be precise. I run a little pawn shop while taking care of the dead. but I used to be a real doctor.
Do you work here alone?
Yes, very easy work, sir. All I have to do is watch a few bodies. The situation was very different when the main morgue was still open.
Why do you have to watch these bodies?
Because these poor fellows have no names. We keep them in case someone comes looking for the missing. Sadly, very rarely happens.
Why close the hospital's main morgue?
It was for sanitary reasons after the beginning of the epidemic. Cadavers had to be moved to the nearest mass grave.
Are you afraid or uneasy being surrounded by so many corpses?
Hombre, no creo, está
Why
hablando
should
con
I?
uno.
These bodies are empty vessels. Flesh left to decay. Poof. No soul anymore. All gone.
An interesting point of view. And quite an exotic one, too. Most people fear, or at least have a respect, for dead flesh.
Sir, as a medic during the war, I learned to face my death and the death of others. It's the pain we have to tame, not death itself.
How did you get this job?
After I left the army, I worked as an undertaker down by the docks. A dangerous place with many an unpleasant business there. Milton Hooks helped me get a job here.
Uy, ese tío no es de fiar, el Milton, ¿eh?
Do you need medical attention?
I'm feeling all right, Doctor. But perhaps it is because I, too, am used to the smell of the dead.
A pawnbroker? I expect you get all types of people here.
Yes, sir. All kind of people. For I sell all kind of goods.
Who comes here to trade with you? It's very unhygienic, even unsafe. Diseases can spread. For the customers, for the hospital.
I'm very cautious, sir. I've been a doctor, remember? And all my clients are good people. In fact, I think I only know good people.
What kind of goods?
With the quarantine, it's not always easy to buy things. So I trade, I exchange. Some people sell, some others buy. I like to help.
Since you're not afraid of dying, do you believe in life after death, Rakesh?
No. I believe we must do all the good we can while alive. For our time is short, and the obstacles are endless.
Do you think you would enjoy immortality as a concept?
I don't think so. Don't mistake me. I love life, and I'd like to live a long life. But everything has to decay, sir. Even goodwill.
Do you really believe goodwill cannot last?
As I said, sir, everything decays. If I was to never die, goodness, I would be bored or worse. And I like to be helpful, sir.
Quite depressing, wouldn't you say?
Yes, but the good news is, we'll all die before losing our humanity, sir.
Sí, técnicamente el protagonista, Jonathan Reed, ya no es humano después de la muerte.
So you're ready to die?
No, I am not. I don't fear death, for I won't see it. What troubles me is the pain my death will inflict to those I know.
You're a wise man, Mr. Chidana.
No, Dr. Reed. I am a foolish man. But I like to think otherwise.
Me cae muy bien el doctor este. Bueno, a ver, el tema del tráfico... Bueno, tráfico. El tema de...
Please show me what
del
you
comercio
have to
aquí
sell.
no me mola,
Of
¿no?
course. It's just trinkets and curios, really. But I'm sure they can be useful.
A ver. Codeína, opio... Es que no sé cómo funciona. No sé cuánto oro hay. ¡Ey!
It's locked.
¡Eh!
So you ended up on my plain and cold medical bench, sir. I understand you must be very angry about this unfair situation. I managed to arrange to have you buried in the same mass grave as your wife. I hope that might help.
It's locked, all right. It's locked, all right.
¿Me deja entrar aquí?
I cannot enter.
Que al final voy a comprar
It's locked.
el papel,
Good evening.
la fórmula.
Please show.
Of course.
Vamos a ver. Me he quedado pobre, pero bueno. Ahora mismo estoy ligeramente desorientado, ¿vale? Ah, mira, jardín trasero, mercader... Ah, entonces aquí está la entrada. Vale.
It's locked, all right. It's locked.
Carta extensa. ¿Y tan extensa? Birmingham, 27 de octubre. Hola, hermanita. ¿Cómo va todo por la capital? Aquí en Birmingham las cosas se están poniendo feas. Parece que la gripe ha vuelto a atacar y tenemos muchos casos de infectados en el barrio. ¿Te acuerdas de la señora Seller, la arpía borracha del tercero? Murió hace 2 días y ya han ocupado su piso. Por Dios, ya tendrían que darme una ingente cantidad de dinero por dormir en la cama de una mujer que acaba de morir a causa de la gripe. Siento no haber respondido antes a tu última carta. Entre cuidar al pequeño Paul, a mamá y a papá, el trabajo en la fábrica, apenas tengo tiempo para escribir a mi hermana favorita. Por cierto, el niño manda saludos a su tita Pipa. Tendrías que ver cómo ha crecido el mocoso. Ya me está volviendo loca. Mamá dice que traigas un par de los pastelitos esos tan ricos la próxima vez que vuelvas a casa. En tu última carta comentabas que habías pensado en dejar de trabajar en el hospital Pembroke. Una cosa te digo, Pip. Piénsatelo 2 veces. En la fábrica siempre podrás encontrar trabajo, pero el salario es una basura y es más aburrido que un día sin un buen meneo. A todo esto, tengo un nuevo prometido, y no soy ninguna fulana. No me seas coñazo con tus principios. El caso es que si quieres dimitir y hacer algo más útil que contar muertos cada mañana, podrías quedarte en Londres y unirte a esa banda de la que me hablaste. Se llamaba la Guardia de Priwen, o algo así. Esos creo que son los cazadores de vampiros. Creo, ¿eh? O creo que al menos es a lo que se dedica el profesor que ha contratado a Jonathan. Bueno, doctor. Nunca he oído hablar de ellos. Pero sí, como dices, son una milicia que intenta hacer las cosas de forma diferente, quizás no sea tan mala opción. Procura que vayan otros delante siempre. Así murió mi pobre Billy en Francia, liderando demasiadas patrullas. Maldita guerra. Bueno, que vuelvas pronto. Infórmame de todo lo que haga. Soy tu cariñosa hermana, Lucy, Paul, mamá y papá. Mira, ahora esta mujer también voy a tener que hablar. Mira. Madre mía, estaba destinado. Usted, señorita.
Good evening, Nurse Hawkins.
Good evening, Dr. Reed.
Pepper, are you sure you want to leave this hospital?
To become a nurse was a little girl's dream. But in the end, I don't feel that useful. I want more. I want to make things change.
You should be proud of what you've achieved. This hospital represents hope for many people in need of help.
Maybe you're right. But at the moment, I feel like we're just a cemetery waiting room.
Mira, he descubierto un poquito más. Pipa se siente inútil como enfermera desde el comienzo de la epidemia y lo de Pipa se está planteando abandonar el hospital.
Pepper,
To become an...
you should be...
Quiero
Maybe.
probar a ver si me da la otra opción. No, mira, necesito pistas.
Goodbye now.
Hasta luego. Y voy a hablar, ya que estoy aquí, con Milton. con este desgraciado de aquí. A ver tú, que haces cosas muy chulas.
Good evening, Milton.
Good evening, Doctor. Still trying to save lives?
Tell me why you're extorting money from some of the patients here.
If a patient wants a bed, he'll have to pay me a little fee. That's all.
Where did you get the idea for such an immoral scam?
Funny you should ask. The first time it was from a patient who bribed me to get a bed. It's only then I realized I could make a fortune.
Y lo hice así tan tranquilo.
Do you know that Nurse Hawkins is thinking of leaving the hospital?
That's not a surprise. We've talked about it already.
Does it not bother you?
Sometimes I think she may be right. We should run away while we can. Question is, where can we go? Where is it safe?
Mira, aquí todavía me queda una pista por ver. Nah.
Goodbye, Milton.
Adiós, Milton.
Perhaps I should have considered the offer from that Cadigan fella.
La cámara... A ver, un segundito. Vale, ahora. La cámara se había quedado pillada así. Y no... Ese movimiento que estaba haciendo con la cámara fija no era yo, se había quedado la cámara pillada. Antes me ha pasado lo mismo, a veces le da...
Good evening.
Le da un chungo a la cámara.
I'm Dr. Reed, the new surgeon at the Pembroke Hospital. And who are you?
Your name has no meaning to me, mortal. You're nothing but dust blown by the winds of eternity.
I beg your pardon?
What are you begging for, mortal? My clemency? Well, tonight maybe I'm inclined to mercy. You'll never forget the night you met Thelma Howcroft.
You keep calling me mortal. Why is that? And if I'm mortal, what are you?
Well, Dr. Reed, if you must know, I'm a vampire.
No... No te creo. No te creo.
And why do you believe you're a vampire?
I don't need to believe anything. It is what I am. It is what I feel within this hollow shell of flesh.
Please, describe to me how you feel. What is it like to be a vampire?
I can hear my body crumble from the inside as my flesh cracks and fades. I sense the last pulse of postulant blood within my drying veins. I need new blood.
I see. Have you ever heard of Cotard's syndrome, Miss Howcroft?
Never.
It's a mental illness discovered by a French neurologist named Jules Cotard. The affected patients are delusional. They believe that they are putrefying, that they are dead, a ghost or a ghoul, or in your case, a vampire.
Delusional, you say? Oh, sad and petty mortal. You can't even begin to understand the concept of immortality. And you think it is I who am delusional.
Ay...
I'm assuming you must be a patient here. Am I right, Miss Howcroft?
Uy, si de verdad
It's
fueras
only a
una
cover.
vampira.
To hide from my enemies. I can leave whenever I want. As a woman, a spirit, fog, or bat.
Who are these enemies you mentioned? Can you describe them?
I cannot say for sure. But I sense their eyes on me from nearby. I feel them watching me every time I visit the garden near the morgue.
The staff here are not your enemy. They're here to help you, to care for you.
I'm not speaking of the doctors in white. I'm speaking of the men and women who hunt me. For I am a vampire!
I see. Don't worry. These people will not find you here. I'll personally make sure they leave you alone.
Thank you, mortal. But do not interfere with them, for you are no match for those that hunt me.
Who are you really, Miss Howcroft? I mean, apart from being a vampire.
Is that not enough for you, puny mortal? What do you require? Proof of my powers?
I'm curious to know who you were before becoming a vampire.
It was such a long time ago, I don't remember. Centuries of unholy life can have strange effects on one's minds, you see?
Pues muy
I'll
bien.
leave you.
Hasta luego, vampira.
But in the circumstances, I'm willing to give you the benefit of the doubt.
Estoy ligeramente desorientado. O sea, sé dónde estoy, ¿vale? Porque aquí afuera está Milton. Por ahí está, pero vamos.
Good evening, madam. Can I help you?
It's my son who needs you, sir.
I'm Dr. Jonathan Reed. How can I help your son?
I'm Beatrice Goswick, mother of Mortimer Goswick. Could you check on him, please, Dr. Reed? I've heard much of your talents as a physician.
What can you tell me about yourself, Mrs. Goswick?
Not much to say. Just take care of my Mortimer and I'll cover all the expenses. That's all that matters.
Are you really that rich? Most of the patients here are of a more humble origin, if I may say so.
Yes, thanks to my husband. May he rest in peace. I can cover any needed medical expenses.
May I ask if you have an occupation, Mrs. Goswick?
I'm a teacher by profession. I teach young women who are more ambitious about their futures than their families.
Don't waste your time with me.
What do you think of your reception here? Any complaints?
I have had the uttermost reservations about this hospital since we arrived. But we had no other choice, considering the state
Al
of
final que va a
emergency.
necesitar un médico
Is
voy
there
a ser
something
yo.
in particular that's bothering you?
Some of the staff were not especially welcoming. I suspect they're not accustomed to dealing with patients of such social standing.
Ahí te lo que te bloquea. Beatriz cuestiona la eficiencia del hospital Pembroke.
Tell me more about your arrival at the Pembroke Hospital. What gave you such a bad first impression?
The ambulance driver was quite rude, for a start. And that nurse, Miss Hawkins, seems to have quite a dubious attitude.
What do you mean?
She managed to secure a bed for my son despite the epidemic. It was a relief, but it wasn't cheap.
Joder, madre mía, la Hawkins.
She charged you for a bed?
Yes, and I paid without question, considering the urgency of the situation.
I share your concern, Mrs. Goswick. Be sure that I'll talk to the people involved.
I don't expect compensation, Dr. Reed. But I'm aware such behavior would not be tolerated in other hospitals.
I'm alright. Don't waste your time with me.
Creo que ya... sí.
Goodbye, Mrs. Goswick.
Ahora hablaré con su hijo.
That's for me.
Good evening. I'm Dr. Reed. Can I help at all?
No,
Really? Why are you here, then?
I don't want to talk. My throat hurts too much.
I suppose that this pain is the reason you're here. Is someone taking care of you?
Yes. And no.
Could you at least tell me your name, sir?
Mortimer. Mortimer Goswick.
How painful is your throat, Mr. Goswick?
So painful I'd rather not talk at all, Doctor.
I'm sure you realize a doctor and his patient have to communicate, sir. Would it help if I gave you some paper and a pen?
Not really.
I see. Then maybe it's not just your throat that hurts, Mr. Goswick. Perhaps your sore throat is just the consequence of something more hurtful.
Yes, maybe. But I don't want to talk or even write about it now.
How painful is your throat, Mr. Goswick?
So painful I'd rather not talk at all, Doctor.
Why did your mother have you hospitalized here? She seems convinced this is a bad hospital.
My mother just wants the best for me. She won't rest while I'm here. She'd go all the way to hell and back to help me.
Is your mother
molestando a su
bothering?
madre?
As your doctor, I can ask her to leave you alone if you would prefer.
That's tempting, Doctor. But you have no idea what my mother is capable of. She would tie herself to my bed if you asked her to leave.
Pembroke Hospital may look unorthodox, but rest assured you're in good hands here.
It's not me you have to convince, Dr. Reed. It's my mother.
Tratamiento para agotamiento. Necesito curarle con eso. Uf. Pues cuando tenga te traeré uno, compañero.
Tell me about yourself, Mr. Goswick.
I don't want to talk, Doctor.
I have to go.
Good evening, sir. Doctor.
Calm the children, Helen. What a blundering idiot.
A ver si encuentro... Está ahí, ¿no? No. Eso es Milton. No. Tampoco.
How long must I wait, damn it?
Blaming me will not further your agenda, sir.
¿Veis? Si se refleja en las superficies. Usa la parte de atrás. Usted.
Good evening, Nurse Hawkins.
Good evening, Dr. Reed.
Oye, no me deja hablar con ella.
Pepper,
To become a nurse was a little...
you should
Le
be
he vuelto a
proud of
mencionar
what
lo
you
de que
achieved.
se abandona el hospital,
This
¿no?
hospital...
Maybe you're right.
Necesito pistas, pero es que esta mujer ya la tengo. Me falta una nada más. No me da... No me sale
Goodbye,
ninguna
Nurse
opción respecto a lo de las camas. Al menos no de momento. Voy a volver a hablar con Milton.
I met him in New York once.
If only there were more of us, with less resignation and more determination.
I know I can count.
Pero con este médico no he hablado
Say the
antes.
same for the others.
You look exhausted. You're pushing yourself too
Good evening,
hard.
Milton.
Good evening, Doctor. Still trying to save...
A ver, preguntas personales. No me deja.
Tell me,
If a patient...
where did...
Funny... That's not...
Does it not?
Sometime.
Nada, no me dicen nada nuevo. Digo, a lo mejor me dan
Goodbye.
alguna opción nueva, pero no. ¿Otra vez se ha vuelto a quedar pillada la cámara? Ahora. Ya me ha pasado varias veces, ¿eh?
Good evening, sir.
So it is true. The famous Dr. Reed has joined us. I can't think of any better news during these terrible times.
Do we know each other?
Actually, yes. We met once before, at the Rockefeller University in New York.
Dr. Tippett's, yes, I remember. I was assisting Professor Carell in his research about coronary bypasses. He had nothing but praise for you.
He was also very confident about your future. And look at you now. Eminent surgeon and blood transfusion specialist.
What is the Pembroke Hospital situation? And please, speak freely.
This hospital is not exactly the best of London. I'm sure you are used to working in a better environment.
Agente más
It's
importante.
more than enough. In any case, the personnel of a hospital are much more important to me than the building.
Don't be misled by appearances, Dr. Reed. This hospital does not lack talented people. It just lacks hope.
A ver, su estado. Pone que está sano, pero está cansado. O sea, aunque aquí ponga sano, Antes nos han contado de que está todo el rato trabajando este hombre y que no descansa.
What can you tell me about the staff in the hospital?
Some are really good, and others are not so good. But during this troubled period, there is no time for slander. I prefer to focus on the positive character traits.
Tell me more about cherished people, then.
Nurse Brannigan is a pearl. She is the most helpful and dedicated nurse I've ever worked with. A clever and cheerful woman.
You really seem to admire her skills.
I'll go even further. If she was a man, she would be a damn fine practitioner.
A ver, es normal, es cosa de la época. Lo digo por lo que acaba de decir. Lo de si fuera un hombre sería un médico excelente. Es que... por la época... A ver, a lo mejor me estoy colando, pero creo que... a lo mejor había algún país en el que sí que era de otra manera, ¿no? Pero a mí me suena de que por esta época si eras médico tenías que ser hombre.
Any opinion about the management?
Y no existían enfermeros, eran todos
I don't
enfermeras.
always agree with Dr. Swansea's reserve, but I must admit he does all he can to keep this facility running during this crisis.
Ah, yes, the burden of command. I was fed up with this concept while serving as a medical officer.
Don't get me wrong. Swansea's a good administrator. I just wish he would get out of his office now and again.
Vale, que esta mujer podría aspirar a mucho más que enfermera, dice aquí. Y que se está extendiendo y se niega a dejar de trabajar. Anda.
You're exhausting yourself, Corcoran. Maybe you should think about preserving your strength.
No. We must keep on healing all those poor souls. We are the last rampart before chaos. Once more unto the breach.
Pero qué fuerza de voluntad tiene el cabrón.
Nurse Brannigan is worried about you, Doctor.
She should not have told you that. I will have a word with her.
You don't have to blame her for her honesty.
I'm not that kind of man, my dear Jonathan. Actually, Nurse Brannigan's opinion is the only one I may listen to.
Pues ya está, ya no tenemos más opciones
Goodbye,
de diálogos. Pues en algún momento debería hablar con la doctora, que está aquí. A ver si me da alguna...
Good evening, Nurse Brannigan.
Good evening, Doctor.
opción más, mira, así.
Why does Dr. Tippett's claim you're the main reason he keeps working, despite his fatigue?
If it wasn't for him, I probably would have left the Pembroke years ago.
Dr. Tippett does not think of you as just a nurse anymore, does he?
If you're suggesting he's not taking my gender into consideration when it comes to medical practice and knowledge, I really hope he doesn't.
Y parece que ya no hay más opciones de momento con esta mujer.
Goodbye, nurse.
Así que nada, chicos. Adiós.